Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am talking about growing up in a large family and my experience in that. You guys who watch my channel all know I have a somewhat large family. I have 5 children, but I often don't talk about my family growing up. And I grew up in a family with 10 kids, 1 mom, 1 dad, 1 big happy family. Today's video is also a collab with Katie over at her channel, Now That I'm a Mother. I did a collab with her, I don't know, I want to say it was over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, back when my channel used to be bigger than hers, and now her channel has really grown well and it's way bigger than mine. But we are collabing again today, and she is a mom of 3 young kids. I don't know how she does it. I watch her channel and I think you are amazing because her kids are all so little and she is so joyful and so optimistic, and she's a wonderful mom. But she also grew up in a large family. There were 11 kids. I believe there are 11 kids in her family. So I'm gonna link her video down in the description below. I am curious to hear her outlook on it and what she thought of growing up in a large family. So she's going to talk all about that on her channel. So when you're done watching my video, go down into my description, find her link, and watch her video. So I'm just going to go into today some of the pros and cons of growing up in a large family, some of the things I experienced, and it's going to be different for everybody. And I think there are pros and cons to any lifestyle, to any family size, but I'm just going to share with you my experience. I grew up in a really good family. We really did have a really good family life. I was the 3rd of 10 kids, or I am the 3rd of 10 kids. So there are 21 years between my oldest brother and my youngest brother, so 21-year span. But for the most part, we are quite close in age, and like I said, I am the 3rd, so I am definitely on the upper end of our family, the older end. My youngest brother is just 15 years old. So obviously there are very good parts of growing up in a large family, and my siblings and I are really close. I obviously am closer with some than with others, but for the most part we all have a really close relationship. My sisters, there are 5 boys and 5 girls in my family. My sisters and I are so close. My older sister is just 2.5 years older than me. My youngest sister is 10 years younger than me. And we've gone through different relationships and different, obviously, fighting, and my youngest sisters and I was like, I don't want to say a mother figure, but I would like care for them, and I would change their diapers, and I would, you know, play with them like a way older sister. And now we're all best friends, and I feel like we're all the same age. We're really good friends, and I love that. I love that I have those built-in best friends, and there are so many of us that even though I have a couple siblings who live far away, I have a sister who lives down in Tennessee, so that's far away from me. I have a brother who lives in Nova Scotia, so way over on the other side of Canada, and so they're far away, and I really miss them. But I still have family close by. Like, there's just that many of us that there's always somebody. I think a lot of the benefits of growing up in a big family for me are things that are not, they're almost like subconscious. I don't even realize that they're benefits, but I think that there are so many things that have benefited me. For instance, I had to share. I had to share a lot. I had to share everything. I had to share my room. I had to share my toys. We always had to share. When there are so many people in one family, there are so many personalities in one family. And like I said, I always had to share a room. So I was learning to cohabitate, is that the word I'm looking for, with other people. I was learning to share space. I was learning how to deal with different personalities and different personalities that might not have meshed with mine. Learning how to deal with that, how to get along, and how to get over fights. And there was so much personality-wise, I think, that I learned that has definitely helped mold me into who I am today. And when I finished high school and I went to college, I had to live in a dorm. My dorm was actually fairly small. There were only 3 of us in our dorm room, but I had no problems. Like, that was just natural to me to share a room and to have to deal with different personalities. And I didn't struggle when I got married at 20 and had to share everything again and live with somebody else and share a room. I had no issues, and I know I hear about people who do, but to me it was just, I've always shared everything. I've always had to deal with so many different situations and loud noise. That's another thing about going to college. I was used to the noise, and you know, when there's a whole bunch of girls all living in one little house, I found that very seamless because I was used to that from all my growing up years. And so I think that that has really benefited me and made all these different changes in my life go quite smoothly. Another thing that I am grateful for is because I had a lot of younger siblings, I learned how to care for babies, and I changed diapers like nobody's business and rocked babies to sleep and took little toddlers to the park and taught my sibling how to tie their shoes and helped my little sibling learn how to read. And there were so many things I was able to do, so many responsibilities I had as an older sibling, that when I was a teenager I ended up getting a babysitting job, and then I got a job as a nanny and a job at a daycare, and that was all, for one, I loved it. I've always loved little kids and babysitting and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely helped me even as becoming a mom, and even though it was still so much different to be a mom, like, I don't take that lightly. Like, it's so much different being a mom than taking care of your siblings or babysitting, but that definitely helped that transition go a lot smoother because I had so many responsibilities growing up. I was cooking meals, like, now I'm cooking meals for 7 people, and yeah, that's a big job, but before I left home to go to college and get married and everything, I was cooking meals for 12 people. So I was very used to looking at a recipe and my mom would say, okay, let's triple this, let's quadruple this, let's make, you know, I was already doing that. And so I think that really gave me a good head start into married life and being a homemaker and being a stay-at-home mom. And there are so many other benefits to growing up in a large family, but those are just a few that I thought of. And of course it comes with its downsides, and I don't want to emphasize these as in like, because I was in a large family, these were downsides. There's downsides in every family situation, and I understand that, but from my experience, here are a few kind of downsides to having a large family. Obviously, it is a challenge, a really big challenge, to have one-on-one time with each of your kids, and my parents tried hard at this. Definitely, I think there was some one-on-one time lacking. My mom always had a baby when I was growing up. My youngest 2 brothers are 6 years apart, I believe. So there was a bit of time where there was not a baby, but for the most part, there was always a baby. And so having that, like as a teenager, having that one-on-one time with my parents when they were still parenting babies and toddlers was sometimes hard to find. We didn't do a lot as far as extracurricular activities go. Not that I always had this yearning desire to do it, but we didn't do a lot. We did do music lessons, so we did definitely have something that we were doing, but as far as like sports and other activities that we might have wanted to do, there wasn't time for that. There wasn't time for each of us, 10 kids, not that there were 10 at home for a long time, or not for long at all, but there wasn't time or money to be taking everybody where they needed to go in order to do all those extracurricular activities. When you have that many kids, it's hard to do very many trips or outings as a full family. So, you know, we might go shopping. My parents might go grocery shopping and take 1 or 2 of us, but we really didn't do anything, almost anything, as a whole family because there were just so many of us. We went to church as a family, and we would go to like, you know, over to a friend's house maybe, or family's house as a whole family of 12, or, you know, through the years, whether it was a family of 10 or a family of 9, whatever. But we never did shopping trips as a family because there's just so many of us. This is just totally my personality, and I know not everybody is like this, but I did not like being a spectacle, and I am very self-conscious, and I was very shy growing up, and the fact that if we did go somewhere as a family, everybody was staring at us. Now, I grew up in a very conservative family, and all of us girls wore skirts growing up, and so I know that made us stand out too. But I always felt stared at, and I hated it. I really did not like being like a spectacle. And now with my 5 kids, honestly, it's the same thing again. Everybody stares at us. But I don't know. I think I've just grown out of that, and I don't care. I'm like, yeah, whatever. At least most of the time they're well behaved. And if they're well behaved, I'm proud of them, not embarrassed that people are staring at us. But I didn't really like it when I was growing up. Another thing that's hard with growing up with a large family, and it can't be avoided, but there's a big divide between like older kids and younger kids. And when we get together now, we do a lot of family get-togethers, and they're big and they're loud and they're fun, but we'll sometimes bring up memories from growing up. And us older kids have completely different memories than the younger kids. Like the younger kids have all these other memories, like, oh, remember when we went and did this? Remember this? And like, I don't remember that because I was already at college when that happened. Or it's just a completely different mindset. And I think my parents' parenting changed over the years too. And so it just feels like a divide. It's not like we grew up as one group, you know, all through the years. It was very split because there's such a huge age range between my oldest brother and my youngest brother. So those are some of the things that I have found in my family, my experience growing up in a very big family. I obviously wouldn't change it for the world, and I enjoyed the experience. There are definitely some downsides to it and some wonderful benefits of it, and it's all I know. Like, that's what I know, is growing up in a large family, and that definitely made me part of who I am today. And so for my husband and I, like I said, if you're new here, if you haven't read my channel name, I have 5 kids. They right now are 9, 7, 5, 3, and 1. Oh, that's perfect. It's a couple months where they're exactly the 2 years apart. And we find 5 to be a very good number. I definitely feel like we have a large family, and everybody who looks at us definitely thinks that we have a large family. But I feel like it's a good number. It's not huge, and I feel like we can still do a lot of activities as a family. We can still have a little bit of extra cash flow to go on vacations, and I think it's just a good number to still have time and money and energy to invest into our 5 little ones, and to also, even already, it's definitely a challenge for me to have one-on-one time with them, but I feel like it's somewhat attainable with 5. I can't imagine with way more than that. I love that my kids still have a good number of siblings. I would be so sad for them if they didn't have lots of siblings. I feel like with 5, they still have lots of built-in friends, and they each have some brothers and some sisters. Even still, I sometimes feel like, oh, my girls each only have 1 sister. Because like I said, I grew up with 4 sisters, and I loved that. But I'm sure the 2 of them will be best friends, and they won't feel like they're lacking anything, because that's what they know. But that's one thing that I once in a while feel like, oh, only 2 girls, like, are they gonna wish they had more sisters? Like, I had so many sisters because I absolutely love having so many sisters. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below how many kids were in your family growing up, and how many kids you have or you want to have, and see how that maybe affected your opinion on how many kids you want. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, if you came from Katie's channel, I would love it if you subscribe, if you've stuck through this video so long. This has gone on really long, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.